Good afternoon, everyone. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of El Paso Community College District, and it is Thursday, March 23rd, 2023, and it is 4:30. The regular board meeting is being held in the Administrative Service Center located at 9050 Viscount Boulevard, Board of Trustees, room A200. In El Paso, Texas, and it's viewable through the EPCC YouTube channel. Refer to the link https://www.youtube.com/user/goepcc. So this meeting is called to order, and we are going to have Mr. Flores lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and for all.
Thank you, sir. And can we have the roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Robles.
Here.
Ms. Sanchez.
Here.
Mr. Uxer.
Here.
Dr. Graham.
Here.
Ms. Nájera and Mr. Haggerty will not be at tonight's meeting.
And Dr. Serrata will be arriving soon. He's in the air.
Okay.
So Dr. Smith, for the record, will be sitting in his place.
Item 1.4, approval of minutes. There are none. Item 1.5, welcome to guests and staff members.
So thank you, everyone, for taking time to join us and for your interest in the transactions of the college. Do we have anyone signed up for open forum?
No, ma'am. Okay. Item 1.7, presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations. Item 1.7.1, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association.
Okay.
Hi, no political stuff today.
Well, that's good.
Not that there isn't any, but I'm just not going to talk about it. Okay, members of the board, well, Mr. Vice President, other vice presidents, deans, guests live in the room, guests out there in cyberspace. In light of the recent Cielo Vista Mall shooting, some campus safety concerns were discussed at the last Faculty Senate meeting. And I'm just going to inform you of a few of those. One was having cameras that are working. Apparently there are some cameras, like in parking lots, that aren't working. So having cameras that work and informing faculty of specific protocols to follow in case of an emergency. Concern about not receiving timely Tejano alert notifications of an active shooter incident if our phones are on silent mode, which they are when we are in class. A concern about not having official protocol of what to do, who to call, who to follow orders from for safety in case of emergency. With the latest Cielo Vista incident, deans were asking coordinators to inform faculty, and some faculty were calling their campus and district coordinators, but coordinators did not know what to recommend, whether to cancel class, shelter in place, send faculty, students home. We need clearer guidelines. This one has to do with the new offices in the AST building at Valle Verde. In the event that there is a shooter on campus, how do faculty who are in their offices in the AST hide? We do not have a way to cover windows or hide, as you can see into our office no matter where you stand. How do students in classrooms that are all windows hide? And this is some concerns from Trans Mountain. Now that the campus police have relocated to the former fashion design area, which has blinds on the window, we can't tell if the police are there or not. I knocked on their door one night to have my classroom unlocked, and apparently nobody answered. I was halfway down the hall before someone peeked out and asked if I needed help. I've never found anyone in that office when I knock on the closed door. The new adjunct office at TM has no protection. There's no door. The only means of escape is a window provided. One has time to break it and exit if the person is fleeing and is able-bodied. And some of the classrooms at the new TM wing are visible due to high glass walls, windows, etc. All classroom doors should be able to be locked from the inside. I have not been able to do that at TM where I have 2 consecutive classes. So these are some concerns, among others, of the faculty concerning safety that have come out of the Cielo Vista shooting. Earlier today, we had a meeting of the safety committee, and I addressed these issues there and was given some positive responses that things are in the works and things are being planned. So hopefully all that will be carried through and our campus will be even safer than it is now. Although we have never had a shooting, we've had only one shooting incident at EPCC, and that was at the Northwest campus, and that involved a BB gun that somebody shot at a truck. And the guy was caught later the same day. So hopefully that's all the shooting incidents we will ever have, but okay, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
That's it.
We appreciate it. And I'm sure you will follow up with Dr. Serrata on those items. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Section 1.8, communications, there are none. Section 1.9, Board of Trustees business. Item 1.9.1 and item 1.9.2 will be discussed after executive session. Section 1.10, Board reports. Item 1.10.1, Treasurer's report, no action is required. Item 1.10.2, President's report. Item 1.10.2.1, Dr. William Serrata, in this case, Dr. Stephen Smith, will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at El Paso Community College to include an update on the COVID-19 pandemic and appropriate actions taken.
Thank you. Good evening. Is this on? Hello? Check. Testing, testing. I guess they don't want me. Yeah, I'll borrow Dr. Graham's. Testing? Okay. Good evening, Vice Chair Graham and members of the board. We'll begin the President's report by congratulating the forensics team who continued their strong season participating in the International Forensics Association 33rd Annual Speech and Debate Tournament in Tokyo, Japan. The team competed well and learned a lot. Congratulations to them for a great accomplishment. We did have Mr. Victor Quintanilla, one of our students, who placed 6th overall in dramatic interpretation. I do need to say that this is a huge conference predominated by four-year institutions, and so good showing by Victor there. I'd also like to thank instructors Erica Portillo and Rick Falvo, along with our own AVP Carrie Moe, for taking time over their spring break to accompany the students during that tournament. Our criminal justice students participated in an essential hands-on learning opportunity by attending an open house at the Otero County Prison Facility in Chaparral, New Mexico. Students and faculty were given a tour of the facility and had a first-hand look at the daily operations of a prison. Thank you, Associate Professor Luis Barragan, for providing this immersive opportunity. EPCC recently hosted the Spring 2023 Counseling Institute with over 117 attendees. Kudos to Mr. Rene Chavez, Ms. Olaya Cáceres for coordinating the event, and to a number of presenters, including Diana Olivares, Carmen Castillo-Attar, Hector Areola, Pablo Rivera, Liz Saldivar, Janice DeWitt, Diana Medina, Liz Estrada, Brenda Juarez, Dr. Cassandra Lechica Chavez, and Selma Viela from EPCC, and also Ms. Valeria Romo de Vivar from UTEP. EPCC's first-year experience program was a top 10 award finalist in the Instructional and Program Services category at the Bellwether College Consortium. Bellwether finalists represent leading community colleges whose outstanding and innovative programs and practices were selected as exemplary. Finalists went through a rigorous second stage and final round of review at the 2023 Community College Futures Assembly, which was held in San Antonio, Texas this past February. Congratulations to Ms. Sandra Lujan, who oversees our First Year Experience Center, Dr. Paula Mitchell, Ms. Margie Nelson Rodriguez for their outstanding work and dedication to this nomination. I'd also like to thank Ms. Sanchez for your participation and attendance. They were greatly appreciated. Thank you for taking the time to join us at Bellwether. Advanced Technology Center hosted an open house for 202 students from the El Paso Independent School District Center for Career and Technical Education. Students were provided with tours and presentations by current students in areas such as welding, electrical, diesel, robotics, CAD, HVAC, machining, renewable energy, as well as in the programs that are part of the Transportation Training Center. EPISD students worked with EPCC students and instructors directly on different hands-on projects like automated drones, robotic arms, HVAC, commercial and residential, electrical, and many more areas. It was a great experience for both EPCC and EPISD students in preparation for their future educational plans. Thank you, Dr. Olga Valerio and program coordinators for encouraging students to pursue their education in CTE fields. EPCC recently hosted the Spring 2023 Early College High School Leadership Council meeting with over 54 members in attendance. The agenda included welcoming remarks by Dean Tony Badillo, presentations by Dr. Donna Eckel from Educate Texas, Dr. Savina from UTEP, and Dr. Dolores Gross from EPCC. Dr. Daniel Aguayo and Ms. Holly Garza, administrators in charge of Cotton Valley and early college high schools at Fabens and Clint, shared their history of their schools, the best practices, and their challenges. Thank you all for hosting this great event. More than 60 Parkland and Wiggs Middle School students toured the Rio Grande campus and visited all of the allied health and simulated labs. Students were very impressed and interested in health occupations, especially our surgical tech, echocardiography, sonography, emergency medical services, dental hygiene, and respiratory care technology programs. Thank you to Ms. Pat Islas and Shannon Valles for their help in coordinating this successful event. Our Bel Air EPCC EMT teams placed first and third in areas of competition, which made them eligible to continue to compete in the Health Occupation Students of America, or HOSA, state competition in Austin this March. You might recall that they received the award a number of years ago. Congratulations to our teams and the EPCC faculty. Sandra de la Canal, your efforts and diligence in helping our students succeed are much appreciated. Dr. Nader Rasai, coordinator of the Pharmacy Technology Program, was appointed by the American Society of Health Systems Pharmacists and the Accreditation Council for Pharmacy Education Board of Directors as a member of the Pharmacy Technician Accreditation Commission for a 3-year term. Dr. Rasai will be tasked to promote, ensure, and advance the quality of pharmacy technology education and training programs throughout the United States. The Pharmacy Technician Accreditation Commission advises the ASHP and the ACPE boards on measures to ensure standardized quality pharmacy technician education and training programs. Congratulations, Dr. Rasai. As far as the COVID report, I will conclude the President's report by providing the following. Fortunately, we continue to see a downward trend in daily cases. We are currently averaging 80 cases per day, slightly lower than the 164 cases we were averaging the prior 2-week period. We currently stand at 84.7% of our populations age 5 or older being fully vaccinated, and 99.9% of our population receiving their first vaccine. The 7-day average hospitalization rate is now reported daily. It currently stands at 3%. To summarize, our daily cases continue to see a downward trajectory, currently averaging 80 per day. As a reminder, the most significant metric is the 7-day average hospitalization rate, which currently stands at 3%. The benchmark for this rate is at 15%. We will adjust accordingly if we approach the 15% benchmark in our community. The President's recommendation is that we continue in Phase 4 of our Return to Campus plan, which we have been in since Monday, August 15th. As a reminder, Phase 4 of our Return to Campus plan has the college operating at full capacity. We'll continue to monitor the data and keep the Board of Trustees informed of any recommended changes for your consideration. Dr. Serrata will be happy to answer any questions upon his return.
So we can ask you the questions. Thank you, Dr. Smith.
Section 1.11, consent docket. This includes item 3.2.
Motion to approve consent docket 3.2.
Second.
So motion is made
And a second
by Ms. Sanchez, and a second?
by Mrs. Robles.
Mrs. Robles, thank you. Discussion or discussion?
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Section 2, administration, there are none. Section 3, personnel. Item 3.1, discussion and action to approve full-time staff and faculty recruited in positions funded by the institutional budget.
Move to approve 3.1 and 3.2.
3.2 is on the consent.
We just approved that, so it'll probably
It's
just
on
be
the
3.1.
consent.
Oh, okay.
The second or 3.1.
3.3? So Dr. Uxer, 3.1,
Yes.
and that's the only one?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second?
Any discussion?
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Item 3.2 is part of the consent docket. Item 3.3, information items, resignations and retirement. No action is required. Section 4, financial services, there are none. Section 5, physical facilities. Item 5.1, discussion and action on the approval of expenditure increases and the addition of new cooperative awarded contracts for the purchase of building materials, supplies, and/or services as needed for the remainder of fiscal year 2022-2023.
We have a motion and discussion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion?
Question.
Yes, sir.
When you say of expenditure increases, what does increases mean?
I would ask that Mr. Lobato step up to the mic and respond, please.
Good afternoon. Yes, on a couple of these, we just need an increase because we're going to be getting close to the pre-approved amount that was approved beginning of last fiscal year.
I guess my question is there a number that goes with increases? I mean, does it have one digit or 3 commas or what?
2 commas. But the
Yeah, we're
increase,
talking millions of, 2 commas, millions
no,
of
sir.
dollars?
We'll be increasing by a couple $100,000, sir.
Are
How come it's not detailed?
those the amounts that's on the next page?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the not to exceed? It's increased from something we don't know up to these amounts then, is that what we're saying?
Up to the amount, not to exceed the amounts that are there, yes, sir. The amounts listed.
So I'd need to go to the other documentation to find out what the original was, and then I can look at this and then make a subtraction so I can see what increase means.
I apologize. I guess we should have had that there. I do not have it.
Okay.
Would you like for us to get that figure, sir?
No, I trust Mr. Lobato.
Thank you, sir, and I can send that to you.
Okay, I'll take that.
Very well.
If you do, just send it to all the board members. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have a first and a second. Call the question, please.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Mr. Uxer,
Contingent on no, not 2 commas, aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Section 6, curriculum and instruction. Item 6.1, discussion and action on the approval of a cooperative agreement from the University of Texas at San Antonio in the amount of $295,556.
Motion to approve?
We have a second.
Second.
Discussion? just have a couple of questions, Dr. Smith, on how is it operating now?
So this is the grant opportunity that helps us run the Small Business Development Center. And it's partially funded through the grant through San Antonio and partially funded through institutional funds.
I guess my question is more like from January 1 to 2023 to now, are we just on automatic pilot or?
Well, sometimes, yeah, it's a great question, Dr. Grant. Sometimes the approval notices come in a little bit later from the feds than we would like. And so they have been operating effectively since January.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, concerns? If not, call the question.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Item 6.2, discussion and action on the approval of the new credit program certificate in patient care technician in the amount of $65,201.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Do we have any discussion?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The, excuse me, the 65,000, is that just sort of administrative costs and actually printing up the certificate and make sure it's registered? And, I mean, you say down here that salaries, that it includes salaries and stuff like that? I don't understand.
Yeah, so anytime we stand up an instructional program, we need a base budget for it, which includes faculty salaries,
So this is
printing
a
and
base,
copying. Yeah,
this is a base budget?
that's correct.
Okay.
yeah.
I have a question on this, sir. Was this one of the, it will be eventually geared for dual credit, or is in the future or not?
Not only for dual credit done in the future, but if you recall Dr. Strada talking about the changing in state funding and the credentials of value, this is an example. And in fact, this program was created directly out of the True Grant that we received a couple of years ago. And so, yes, it will become increasingly important and open to dual credit students as well.
Great, thank you.
I guess there's one other thing. The $65,000 is pretty small when you see the word salaries tucked in there. Is this just incremental addition to existing staff? It doesn't,
That's a very astute question and a good one. Yes, we are currently standing the program up with existing full-time faculty, but we'll have to hire additional adjuncts to help support the program as well. So we currently have funding for some of the salaries that are involved in the program.
seems like 65,000 would just cover your expendables.
Well, we appreciate that, and if we need to increase that, we'll go through the budget cycle.
I'm sure you will.
Any other questions, discussion, concerns? If not, call the question.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Item 6.3, discussion and action on the acceptance of a supplemental grant award from the Texas Workforce Commission, TWC, in the amount of $37,704.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? That's it, call the question.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Section 7, Student Services.
If I might, before we move on to the Student Services section, there's an individual in the audience. First of all, thank you to Dr. Carmen Aguilar-Gerner and Joe Ferguson and his team for the grant. But we have an individual in the audience who's overseen the Small Business Development Center for many, many, many years. And he will be retiring as of the end of the month. And since he's in the audience, we'll have an opportunity to recognize him later. But Joe, could you stand up and let us thank you for the many years of service? Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir, on behalf of the board and the college. We appreciate your work.
Section 7, Student Services. Item 7.1, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education CE tuition rates for new courses.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Section 8, Community Services, there are none. Would you like to recess into executive session?
Executive session, yes. And the time,
The Board of Trustees may conduct an executive or closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons. 1, consultation with its attorney to seek or receive legal advice or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation or for any purpose authorized by law. 2, discussion about the value or transfer of real property. 3, discussion about a prospective gift or donation. 4, consideration of specific personnel matters. 5, discussion about security, personnel, or devices. Or 6, discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce that it will go into executive session on any item listed on this agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session. Item 1.3.1, discussion with legal counsel regarding the proposed unpaid suspension of an employee in the Division of Student and Enrollment Services pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.2, discussion with legal counsel regarding a charitable grant to the college from the National Philanthropic Trust pursuant to Section 551.073 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.3, discussion with legal counsel regarding Rate 41 legislative initiatives pursuant to Section 551.073 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.4, discussion with legal counsel regarding exchange of real property located immediately adjacent to Mission del Paso campus between the college and County of El Paso pursuant to Section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code. The time is now 4:58, and the board will go into executive session.
okay, we are returning from executive session. It's 6:30. And we are ready for the next item.
Okay. Section 1.9, Board of Trustees Business. Item 1.9.1, discussion and take possible action regarding the proposed unpaid suspension of an employee in the Division of Student and Enrollment Services.
No action?
Item 1.9.2, discussion and take action to adopt resolution and take any other appropriate action regarding a charitable grant to the college from the National Philanthropic Trust.
No action.
And with that, our next meeting will be April the 20th at 4:30.
April 27th.
27.
27th? I'm sorry. I saw it on the 20th. No. That's right, sorry. April 27th at 4:30. Need a motion to dismiss?
Adjourn?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. Thank you all for being here.